Hey everybody, what's going on? Jarrett with Jarrett Rushing Fishing back again. As you can tell, this is a fishing video, but we are not on the water. In fact, I'm standing right here on the edge of my yard. You can see my road right in front of me. And this is going to be a wrap-up of the Wright Patman Regional event for the BFL season of 2024. And as you can tell, I'm standing out here and I'm kind of somber about it all. I'll just go ahead and prelude, tell y'all, I didn't fish the event. It wasn't by choice. I'll put it that way, or in one way, in a weird way, it wasn't by choice, but we'll get to that in a minute. Stick around to the end of this video and I will include the one clip that I had, which was me driving home from that regional that morning, and you'll kind of understand my thought process. But without further ado, yes, I did not fish the Wright Patman Regional this year, and it was due to a boat issue. That was it. Kind of tell you the quick story. I don't want to run this video too long, but long story short, the morning of the tournament, I launched from the spillway ramp, which is on the north side of the spillway. I made it out into the lake about a quarter of a mile and was heading north to Sportsman's Cove, where our tournament was blasting out of. And to be flat out honest, my boat died. My motor died. Now, I've had fuel issues before, I've had clogged lines, I've had injector issues before, and normally whenever that happens, it's a sputter, but this thing quit that fast. I knew I was in trouble. I turned the key. After I turned it off, turned all of my power off, did everything that I was supposed to do, and then I ended up turning the key, and whenever I did, none of my caution lights, my oil, my fuel, none of that, RPMs, none of it lit up. Which the way my motor works is every time I turn the key, they'll all light up and then go off before you crank it. But they never lit up, which showed me that I had an electrical problem somewhere in the boat. So while I'm out there in the middle of the water, bobbing around like a cork, I go in, I check my fuses, I check all my breakers, I check my terminal wires, I check my battery connections. I do everything that I know to do on the water. I really do. Now, mind you, this is about 6:30 in the morning, and we blast off from Sportsman's Cove at 7:30. And I knew that there was no way that I could get there by just trolling. So on the way back to the ramp, trolling, which I did have trolling motor battery, I had live well, and I had bilge. But on the way back, I called the tournament director and let him know that I'm dead in the water, and asked him what he thought I should do. He said, you know, it's really up to me. And I told him, I said, if it's going to hinder my at all, I said, then we'll drive around, I'll drop the boat in and I'll fish, but that still doesn't solve the issue. And to be flat out honest, I'm not a fan of electrical issues on a boat, which we knew at that point that this was going to be an electrical issue, but I'm not a fan of being on the water, out in the middle of a tournament, or anywhere for that matter, with electrical issues on the boat. He ended up making a phone call, calling me back. By that time I had made it to the ramp. It's about 7:50 or so, 7:45, and I'm in the back of the boat again, looking at breakers, looking at fuses, just trying to find something that I may have overlooked. And he calls me and says, our only option is to put your co-angler in a boat with another angler and a co-angler. This is the point that I looked at my co-angler and I said, look, well, you got two choices. I said, either we can load this thing on the trailer and go around and fish. I said, but I'll be honest with you, if we're trolling around the ramp there, I'm not going to be in a good mood. I'm not going to make decisions very well. I'm going to be worried about my boat, not to mention it's electrical. It's electrical, and that scares the mess out of me. I said, or we can put you in another boat. He says, whatever you think. So there was no argument, no discussion. I said, I think your best bet is to jump in another boat. So we called the tournament director, tell him that my co-angler is going to be on his way to go over there to jump in with another boater. This is the point where the one person, and I don't owe anybody an apology, but the one person that I will apologize to will be the co-angler of the boat of which my other co-angler jumped into, because I know you didn't sign up for that, two co's in a boat. But before you cast judgment and before you really start saying that you would have done things this way, I just ask you to put yourself in my position. And truthfully, you don't know what you would have done until you get in that position. So again, I apologize to you and you only, because that was probably more of a hindrance to you than it was to the boater or my co-angler, especially since he told me that he was okay with it or agreed to it. I'm not going to say okay with it. But anyhow, Had to wait. There were still people launching. There was a line at the ramp. Waited till about 7:20, and I loaded my boat on the trailer and away to Spencer's Marine that I went. Found out that my co didn't make it onto another boat. He was fishing 2 in. Again, terrible situation, but it happens to the best of us. Got to Spencer's at about 10:30 that morning, and it wasn't until 4 or 5 o'clock that afternoon that he sent me a text and told me that they found the problem. Come to find out, I had a loose live wire in my control box that had come loose. To which I asked him, I said, what was the fire potential of this? He said, high. If that wire would have touched anything metal inside of that control box, we'd have been in a bad shape. So I'm glad that I took the precaution. I'm glad that I decided to back off and not fish. The reason I post this video is I want to make sure that everybody understands my thought process. There was a lot that went into my thought there, and safety was number one. But, you know, come to find out, my co-angler that I had caught one fish, stayed in like the top 40 after day 1, so he was running for a check. The other co-angler, I think, caught some fish, so he was in a running for a check. Boater was in like the top 20. You know, it was a good day for all of them. They all caught fish, but, you know, it wasn't a decision made lightly. So a few questions that I've been asked, and I'll answer them here publicly, is number one is, am I okay? And the answer is yes. I didn't hit anything. I didn't crack a motor. I didn't bust a weld or anything in the boat. Everything's fine. You know, I fished the Lake Dardanelle State Bass Regional, or excuse me, State Bass Championship the next weekend in the boat and did very well. You'll see those videos coming up soon. But no, I did not hit something, and I'm fine. So was my co-angler. The second question that I've been getting asked here lately is, did I get my money back? And it's kind of a sore subject with me, but the answer straightforward is no, I did not. I had to forfeit my entry, which sucks, especially since I was written down as a no-show for the tournament, even though I was on the water that morning. Kind of messes with your century mark, you know, because MLF does this deal with, if you fish 100 tournaments, you get this little coin. You know, it's just commemorative for people that have really fished a lot of tournaments. But, you know, I'm pretty close to 50, so I was trying to work towards that. Again, there's a lot that goes into that, and I'm not going to discuss it because I don't need somebody from MLF calling me saying that I was demeaning or degrading to their organization, but it is a very sore subject with me. Which brings me to my last point, is everybody keeps asking, am I going to fish BFL next year? And I'm going to post a video here probably around the 1st of January kind of explaining what I'm doing this year. But the quick and simple answer is no, I will not be fishing BFLs this year. Now, there's a lot that goes into that decision. It's not just the way that regional went down, but I will not be fishing BFL. Now, I've got a lot of other good things on the plate, and I'm excited about the things that we got coming up. But again, you'll have to follow the next video to figure that out, or a couple videos down. But I wanted to clear the air here, kind of tell everybody what happened. I got word that, you know, there were some people that were extremely aggravated with me and that I should have stayed and trolled. And again, maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have. You can leave a comment right here and tell me what I should have done. I don't care. Don't be surprised if I get defensive and defend myself or pose hypothetical situations to you that were running through my mind. But again, safety was my major concern, and with it being electrical and on the water, I had no idea what was happening, and I was worried. I really was. And again, that decision was not made lightly, and it was made jointly. Whether the guy fully agreed or gave me the decision power, it was made jointly. So I hope y'all enjoy this. Again, there's a clip right here. It's about 6 minutes long. This is probably a longer video, and I apologize, there's a lot of talking, but I wanted to post this not only for me, but for you, the viewers, because y'all have seen the 2 Wright Patman practice videos, and I didn't want you to think that I just gave up, because I didn't. I would have loved to have been able to fish, but the truth of the matter is there were several others that busted up their boats during practice, and they still fished and they trolled around. If that was, you know, the case, if I'd have busted up a lower unit and knew that I wasn't going to get one for about a week, then I would have just gone ahead and fished. But with it being electrical, I was just scared. I really was. I was worried. So hope y'all enjoy this. Follow along. This is the video right next, or this coming up clip will be the video that I recorded on my way back. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in. The Dardanelle Arkansas State Bass Championship videos will be coming up soon. I've got 2 practice videos. One of them's going to be short, one of them's going to be decent, but you'll see that I didn't have a great practice at all. Practice videos are going to be a little lackluster, but whenever it comes down time for tournament days, you'll really appreciate what you see. So thank you all for following along. Please subscribe if you aren't a subscriber. Keep chunking. And again, here's the clip from Wright Patman, day 1. What's going on, everybody? Jared with Jared Rushing Fishing. We're back again with a new video, and as you can see, I'm in my truck. Yeah, I'm in my truck. If you look behind me there, you can see the boat. This is day 1 of the BFL Regional at Wright Patman Lake in Texas. Let that sink in just a little bit. Day 1 BFL Regional. It's sunlight. I'm on the road. It is 8:36 and I've got the boat hooked up behind me. What in the heck am I doing? Well, I go ahead and tell you, there's times in your life, and the older I get, this is becoming more and more apparent, but there's times in your life where whenever the Lord grabs a hold of you and says, stop it, don't do this, you know, avert the situation, whatever, you listen. I have been the stubborn butt, put it lightly, way too many times. Had the Lord tell me, hey, you don't need to be doing this, or you might want to watch out, might not want to go there, and I go anyways, or do it anyways, and then I reap the consequences. This morning, I put my boat in at a ramp about 1.5 miles away, mile away, give or take, 1.25 miles, something like that, away from the ramp that we were using. And co-angler met me, everything was good. We put the boat in, I crank up the motor, everything's working. I get on the pad, I'm out about halfway in the middle of the lake, getting ready to turn right to go back up north to the Sportsman's Cove, and my motor just quits, dies. Now normally when that happens, it's usually a fuse or something like that. I know everybody on here is going to have a, well, did you check this, you check this. Okay, let me tell you what I checked. I went inside of my backhoe, I checked every fuse that I could possibly check that I could see on the water. I reset all of my breakers. None of them were tripped, but I reset them just to see. I did not take the cowling off, and that's something that everybody keeps saying is probably the fuse on the cowling, but here's the deal. At that point in time, I really didn't want to be on this lake anyways, and I hate to say that because I love fishing, but this regional here had some underlying things going along with it that I'll discuss in a different video, and I just didn't really want to be on the water. I didn't. I was fishing because I made it. I was fishing because you never know what can happen. But whenever this happened, I took it as a sign. I really did. That the Lord was saying, hey, you don't need to be here. So I made a phone call to the TD, got my co-angler on another boat, and then I loaded the boat up and I went home. Or I'm on the way home. And actually, I'm not on the way home. I'm actually on my way to Spencer's Marine. Let him take a look at it. Again, I figure it's something really, really, really simple. I still have trim on the deck and on the motor itself, so it's not trim switches. The kill switch is working just fine, or it was whenever I lost power. It's probably something very minute, but again, whenever you get these signs, if you listen, then sometimes it's best to listen, mind, and move along, and that's what I'm doing. This doesn't end my season yet. I've still got one more tournament coming up at Lake Dardanelle next weekend, which today is October the 17th. So starting Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember, I will practice for the Dardanelle event, and that'll end my season for the year. To be honest, this has been a season of a lot of ups and not a lot of downs. Sorry, I'm going in the sun, so I'll put on my shades. It's been a season of more ups than it has downs, but right here at the end of the year, I've hit a wall where things just aren't going real well. Had a really bad tournament at Greer's Ferry the other day. Day one, I only weighed in 5 fish for 465. And then day two, by 11 o'clock in the morning, I did not have a keeper, and I opted to go watch Jaden play baseball, which, didn't hurt my feelings. What else did I have happen? There's another tournament in there somewhere that just didn't go as planned, but anyway, no two ways about it. I'm still blessed. I've still got my health. I've still got the love of my friends and family. We're gonna get this boat checked out. You know what? Traditional gun season, or alternative gun season, starts in Arkansas this weekend. I think this is a good time to sit back and go, you know what? It's time to deer hunt. Ready to get on that deer stand and just relax a little bit. So I appreciate y'all following along. I will post right here or do an update after we figure out what was wrong with the motor, and kind of let y'all know. That way, the folks that told me it was something can say, okay, I was right, and folks that said it was something else can go, oh, I never thought about that. Maybe it'd be educational in the long run. But either way, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Follow along. Season's almost over, but we're gonna come with content. We got a few ideas for some podcast type of videos, so discussion videos that I'm gonna run probably in late November and December, just to fill up some content, and then our season gets kicked back off again in January. So we're right around the corner. We'll talk to y'all soon. Hit that sub button, stick around for the update. Like always, y'all keep chunking.